pleasure to welcome you all and start the session of the Consular Representatives in the 6th BRICS Conference 2022 of GEBRICS from University of São Paulo. My name and start the session of the Consular Representatives. Sorry, the audio was opened here. Well, my name is Bruce Scheidl Campos. I'll be the moderator of this illustrious panel, and I would like to thank the support of our partners, namely Lead China, the BRICS Youth Energy Agency, the Project Office of International Youth Cooperation, Forum for Global Studies, South African BRICS Youth Association, SABIA, CRB Brazil, in BRICS Forum, and all the logistical and technical support of IBRA China, who is giving us this platform for this panel today. For this panel, it's an honor to welcome here today Dr. Chen Peijie, Consul General of China in São Paulo, Mrs. Tinyiko Kumalo, Consul General of South Africa in São Paulo, and Mrs. Manisha Swami, Consul General of India in São Paulo. We also have Mr. Vladimir Tokmakov, Consul General of Russia in São Paulo, who has some technical issues and will be joining us as soon as he can. Thank you all for accepting our invitation to this very special session and for sharing your country's views, achievements, and challenges within the BRICS agenda this year. Now, to the opening, I would like to welcome and invite Mrs. Manisha Swami, Consul General of India in São Paulo, for your speech. And Mrs. Consul General, welcome, and thank you again for accepting the invitation. The floor is all yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bruce, and it's equally heartwarming to see all three women consul generals here, and it's really, I would say, empowering to see that. I know we are missing our Russian colleague here, but hope he will join us soon. And I hope I'm audible to everybody, right? Am I audible to everybody? Okay. So, Bruce, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And as I told you that, today we had to go, as everybody would agree, to the reopening of Ipiranga Museum, but the time was clashing, and we chose to be at BRICS, workshop to attend your conference, which shows that how passionate and how much importance we give to this grouping, actually. So thank you so much. I would like whosoever is joining us, I would like to thank them for joining us and welcome everybody. People know about BRICS, but I would like to start that since its inception in 2009, BRICS has come at a very long way. In past few years, there are many practical steps which makes BRICS a very unique organization whose focus is not just limited to dialogue, as we have also seen as espoused by our Honorable Prime Minister during the BRICS Summit as well. So we are in the year 2022, and 2022, the BRICS turns 16, which, if we talk in human terms, can be described as a young adulthood with growing thoughts, shaped, worldview concretized, but laden with growing responsibility. So the birth of BRICS actually rests upon the implicit recognition that post-world order had peaked and emerging economies need to step up to craft new developmental framework with partner countries, but not limited to global south. So BRICS was formed on this notion that post Cold War there is a new dimensions in the world order, and we need to give voice, and it has to be more representative. That is why we have Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa representing the emerging economies, and with their own thoughts and on priorities to change the developmental framework, which is more up to date in the post Cold War era. So the BRICS was a natural response to search for diversity. And BRICS, as we know, that is based on the spirit of equality, mutual understanding, trust, and respect. It offers inclusive and innovative solutions to many long-standing challenges. I would like to sum up that BRICS, there are three pillars of BRICS. One is political and security, second is economy and finance, and third is people to people. So the entire framework of BRICS revolves around these three pillars. Political, if we go, political and security. So to enhance cooperation and dialogue on issues of global and regional security developments in the global political space, as well as reform of the multilateral system to make it more relevant for the 21st century. So that remains the key agenda of BRICS, where we are facing the day-to-day realities and where we are making it more inclusive, representative, participatory, non-differential. So we strive as BRICS country to make the world order, the international organizations, especially the UN, to make it more participative and inclusive. Under this pillar, political cooperation, also on counter-terrorism and its financing also remains a very, very important pillar of our cooperation under BRICS. Second pillar, as I spoke about, economic and financial. So to promote economic growth and development for mutual prosperity through expansion of intra-BRICS cooperation in sectors such as trade, agriculture, infrastructure, small and medium enterprises, energy, finance, it remains the key area. The aim is to promote a collaborative approaches as well as innovative methods for an attainment of sustainable development goals. And the establishment of new development bank and other mechanisms remain very at the core of this agenda. Also, the attainment of sustainable development goals by 2030 also falls under this. Another aspect, fifth priority, is basically people-to-people exchanges, where we culture and people-to-people exchanges, where we encourage intra-BRICS people-to-people context in various aspects like culture, youth, academics, sports, business, etc. Exchange of scientists and parliamentarians. So the entire gamut of BRICS revolves from the topmost, from political and security, then encompasses economy and finance, and finally people-to-people context and cultural linkages. That sums up the entire BRICS framework. So under the BRICS ambit, as we know that in 2022, China was the chair and they had the BRICS summit, and there are various institutional mechanisms and ministerial segments and working groups have been established under the BRICS framework, and there are multiple thematic issues circling these pillars actually. For example, there are labor ministers who meet, trade ministers, agriculture, customs, traditional medicine. This was a topic this year also. So there is a huge array of topics and mechanisms where we strive to enhance mutual cooperation under the BRICS ambit. So as you see, the outcome document also issued by 2022 BRICS summit at Beijing also sums up what is our future lying and what are our future initiatives as well. Especially post-pandemic era has also highlighted how fragile the global order can be, and what is the importance of mutual cooperation to ensure global health governance, how important it is. And it has been, I think, a prominent agenda for BRICS also also. That is why we have also set up a BRICS R&D, vaccine R&D center, and the various chapters in the various countries. And we would like to also see more progress in this regard, because we strongly believe that the emerging developing countries and the least developing countries, they also need to bridge this gap. Be it a vaccine gap or be it a developmental gap, we have to bridge those developmental fault lines, and for that it's important that we BRICS as a bloc, as a takes a lead to ensure this global health governance particularly. And I'm very pleased to say that I think we are on the right track on that. Also, we are also insisting on reliable supply chains, because the pandemic has laid bare the fragility of our economic and supply chain especially, and it has also laid bare that no country is immune. The pandemic has affected everybody, so the reliable supply chains is another thing which is really our focus area. So I would say that we are also focusing on other aspects like WTO reforms also. So the end target is basically to make these institutions and organizations more inclusive, rule-based, and participative, where the emerging economies and developing countries can have a say and craft the new development agenda. We look forward for the next BRICS summit, and which will be hosted by our dear colleague South Africa. And we give full support, Indian support for this, and we stand ready to take lead in the in the areas of mutual cooperation, where we can contribute to the global world. Just to say that BRICS countries, they represent the 40% of world population and 25% of, I think, the trade global economy. So it's a huge, I would say, a big organization, and hope to see it make more strides in future. So thank you so much for your attention, and with this I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Consul General Manisha Swami. Again, it's a pleasure to have you here. We wish you also all the best leading the Consul General in São Paulo, which you recently took office. So congratulations, and wish you all the best. And now I would like to give the floor to Mrs. Tinyiko Kumalo, Consul General of South Africa in São Paulo. Please, Mrs. Consul General, you have the floor for a statement.
Thank you very much, Bruce, our moderator, and to my colleague, the Consul General from India, and the other Consul Generals from Russia and China, and distinguished guests, organizers from the University of São Paulo. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everyone, because we are in different time zones. And firstly, I would like to thank the University of São Paulo for continuing its engagement on this pertinent issue, the BRICS issues, that has brought us to this 6th edition of GEBRICS conference in 2022. As we all know, South Africa joined BRICS with 3 main objectives, which are to advance our national interest, to promote regional programs and related continental infrastructure programs, as well as to partner with key players of the South on issues related to global governance and its reform. It is also important to note that South Africa's BRICS membership is linked to the African continent's development challenges, and we therefore also represent the African continent's interest in this membership. We reaffirm our position during the recent 14th BRICS Summit in Beijing, by declaring that we support the strengthening and reforming of global governance, and we are working in solidarity to combat the COVID-19. We also believe in the safeguarding of peace and security, and we are also promoting the economic recovery, as well as expediting implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We will also continue on deepening people-to-people exchanges. And lastly, we will also continue to work on our institutional development. And as we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic, all of us have had difficulties, and we also countries focusing on redistributing their budgets from sustainable development and economic programs to the support of their people to overcome the pandemic. And it was the same for us as South Africa. We had to rethink and make sure that we deal with the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic also allowed us to pause, reflect, and rethink on the trajectory of our programs and strategies. It also allowed us not restore the world to preconditions, but to forge a new path and a new design to a world that is just, peaceful, cohesive, resilient, and sustainable. And the only way to do this is through multilateral actions. Throughout the years, we've heard how BRICS members have to play a balancing act between ideologies, economic strategies, and competing for market access, while interest groups were lately predicting the failure of the grouping. Yet in 2022, we are now debating the expansion of the new membership and already added new members to the BRICS New Development Bank. BRICS Sherpas will continue to clarify the guiding principles, standards, and criteria for the expansion process. And we expect the debate to continue in South Africa during the 15th BRICS Summit in 2023. Chair, we have made great strides in our partnership in BRICS. In 2021, South Africa exported 17% of goods and services to BRICS countries. Our trade with BRICS countries has increased by $215 billion since 2017. We continue to learn from each other through capacity, diversifying our economy and growing tourism. Tourism is the biggest contributor to our GDP, and BRICS countries accounted for 65% of all arrivals in South Africa in 2018. Of course, the pandemic had a huge impact on this sector, and we hope that reintroduction of a direct flight, which was introduced by LATAM, will help us to regrow this industry. The BRICS Development Bank has already provided $5.4 billion to South Africa to improve service delivery in key areas, and provided members with swift approval for COVID-19 emergency loan program. The BRICS Vaccine Research and Development Center was launched in March 2022 to engage in joint vaccine research, development, and co-production. This will assist with building capacity for South Africa and the African continent in vaccine manufacturing. The BRICS Development Bank also provides opportunities for business growth through public-private partnership and big infrastructure projects in member states. Besides the BRICS government interactions, engagements amongst business, academics at forums such as this, Women Business Alliance, municipalities, and youth development continue to grow and develop in sectors such as agriculture, science, technology, energy, manufacturing, infrastructure, and aviation. The BRICS countries declared their commitment to multilateralism and to the strengthening and reforming of the multilateral system, especially the UN and its principal organ. At the recent BRICS Ministers of Foreign Affairs and International Relations on the margins of the 77th session of the UNGA on 22 September 2022, and in the 14th BRICS Summit in Beijing. With a combined GDP of 26.6 trillion US dollars and a combined population of 3.2 billion people, The impetus for BRICS can provide to actions and decisions for developing countries on multilateral fora, and is unlimited and do not have to be defined by preset international boundaries of interaction if they choose to do so. The BRICS members are also in support of the African Agenda 2063 and the African Continental Free Trade Area and the development and further integration of Africa. With the BRICS support, the African continent will be able to negotiate better opportunities for the continent and grow their economics quicker. And it will also provide the African continent with a voice of impact internationally. Chair, for South Africa, BRICS also provide a platform to develop the African youth and women. Now, more than ever, it has become very important not to leave the youth and women behind when deciding on key governance and economic development issues for the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has the biggest impact on youth and women around the world. And with Africa's 200 million people between ages of 15 and 24, it had an even bigger impact on education, job opportunities, and exposing a digital divide that will have to be overcome as soon as possible. The youth have a key role to play in economic transformation, but remain outside in the formal economy. Within BRICS, the technical and vocational education and training cooperation will ensure access, equity, and quality education for its members that can be used to improve and exchange skills with other countries. The BRICS Youth Summit also encourages exchanges in culture, and we believe that more areas of cooperation will develop in these areas. The more we look at the parameters set as international standards for actions, the more we realize that what worked for the world before might not be the best option for countries and its people today. Most of the parameters were also set without including most of the world population in mind. As BRICS continues to grow in strength and in numbers, it is important, while maintaining the goals and objectives of South-South cooperation in forums such as this, for South Africa to also allow greater impact that will contribute to a better world for all. I wish to thank the University of Sao Paulo for this opportunity to once again be able to participate in this conference, and for all the contributors that made this edition successful. And a special thank you to my South African participants, Mr. Donovan Williams, Chris Chetty, Happy Sithole Nikatekiso Kubayo, Magali Masamba, Jevin Naidu, and Rion van der Merwe, who presented invaluable South African perspective. I thank you very much. Ciao, obrigada.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Consul General Tinyiko Kumalo, for your insightful speech. Now, I would like to greet and invite for your speech to Mr. Consul General Vladimir Tokmakov, Consul General of Russia in São Paulo. We're glad that you could join us. Very happy. And please welcome. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And if you allow me, I'll give you the floor right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I want to speak Portuguese.
Please. I think the image and the audio freeze to me. And now I come back. Can you hear us, Mr. Consul General? I think you'll be joining, reaching and joining again. Well, meanwhile, we can proceed to the next speech if you agree, which is from the Consul General of China. Can we proceed to the speech of Consul General of China, and if Mr. Tokmakov come back, he can make his speech afterwards. So I would like to invite Mrs. Consul General Dr. Chen Peijie, Consul General of China in São Paulo, for as China holds the third presidency in BRICS in 2002. I would like to give you the floor to speak about the Chinese priorities and challenge for this year. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation, and good to see you again.
Okay, so now I start now. Okay, thank you, dear Bruce, Campos, long time no see, and also my dear colleague, Mr. Kumalo, and the new colleague, Mrs. Swami, and also new colleague who is now just dropped it, Mr. Tokmakov. All distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a pleasure to be invited by WUSB to the BRICS conference again. It's admirable that WUSB has over the years been committed to BRICS research, held the annual event despite the difficulties, and contributed immensely to deepening BRICS cooperation. I wish the conference a great success. Right now, the major changes unseen in the century are accelerating. The pandemic is having far-reaching impacts. Anti-globalization trend is on the rise. The global economic recovery is sluggish. The deficits in peace, security, development, and governance are increasing, and global challenges are intensifying. In this situation, it is worth pondering what the parameters for international consultation are and where global governance should evolve into. The theme of today's conference, today's meeting, focuses on BRICS and go beyond, which is helpful to answer the questions. As representative of emerging markets and developing countries, BRICS came into being in the era of major developments, major changes, and major adjustments in the world. Over years' development, BRICS has established a new relationship of partnership and non-alignment, put into practice a new concept of mutually beneficial cooperation and win-win result, and taken a new path of mutual respect and progress, becoming a key force in maintaining peace, stability, fairness, and justice, promoting common development, and improving global governance. BRICS is thus widely recognized and supported by the international community. More countries want to be its member. Higher expectations for BRICS to inject stability and positive energy into a world in turbulent changes and offer solutions to global challenges. In June this year, China successfully held the 14th BRICS Summit, where leaders of the 5 countries focusing on the theme of foster high-quality BRICS partnership, usher in a new era for global development, reached a broad consensus, adopted the Beijing Declaration, and with hundreds of supporting events held, demonstrating the vitality of the BRICS. BRICS countries have embraced the BRICS spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and win-win cooperation, insisted on principle of extensive consultation, joint efforts, and shared benefits, especially addressing world affairs through extensive consultation among all of us, which sets an excellent example for parameter of international consultation. I'd like to share some observations in regards to the positive significance of the BRICS cooperation for development and global governance from 3 aspects. 1, the political security cooperation provides new ideas for improving global security governance. Peace, like sunshine and air, is the basic element of human survival and development. At present, the world is overshadowed by complex and serious security challenges, Cold War mentality and power politics, as well as traditional and non-traditional security threats. Some hegemonic approaches, bullying or sense of supremacy in pursuit of selfish interests and zero-sum game make the situation even more uncertain and unstable. As a key force in maintaining international peace and stability, BRICS firmly upholds the international system with the United Nations at its core and the basic norms governing international relations underpinned by the UN Charter, safeguarding fairness and justice, pursuing consultation and coordination, and plays a constructive role in resolving international and regional hotspot issues. During the summit, President Xi Jinping expounded on the global security initiative, indicating ways and paths to fix the peace deficit and resolve the global security dilemma. BRICS countries expressed their unanimous position on supporting multilateralism, improving global governance system, and resolving conflicts through political consultation, reached consensus on deepening cooperation in multiple fields, and voiced their support for strengthening the international arms control and non-proliferation system. BRICS gathered not in a closed club or an exclusive circle, but a big family of mutual support and a partnership for win-win cooperation so as to contribute to exploring a new path to security featuring dialogue over confrontation, partnership over alliance, and win-win over zero-sum. 2, development cooperation injects new momentum for global economic governance. At present, the world economy has been hit hard by COVID-19. Protectionism is on the rise. Economic globalization is facing headwinds. Trade liberalization is suffering. A few countries are decoupling and breaking industrial and supply chains and building small yards and high walls. The north-south development gap is widening. The risks of food, energy, and financial crisis are intensifying. And the implementation of the UN 2030 agenda has suffered setbacks. As an important force for the world economic recovery, BRICS has played a key role in solving global economic governance challenges. The economic weight of BRICS countries in the global economy is increasing, and the new development bank, the contingency reserve arrangement, the BRICS partnership on new industrial revolution, and the strategy for BRICS economy partnership 2025 show a clear roadmap for cooperation. BRICS regards development cooperation as a priority agenda. During the summit, a joint statement was issued to support the reform of the multilateral trading system and the WTO, and initiatives were reached on various aspects of cooperation, such as supply chain, food security, and the digital transformation of our manufacturing sector. The momentum of cooperation is strong, and the prospects of the cooperation are inspiring, which also injects impetus into the world economy and the global development. In response to the difficulties facing, President Xi Jinping pointed out that it is necessary to adhere to openness and inclusiveness, to uphold the multilateral trading system with the WTO at its core and eliminate barriers to adhere to the principle of extensive consultation, joint efforts, and shared benefits, and strengthen global economic governance for major developed countries to adopt responsible economic policies and avoid causing serious impacts on developing countries. Following the Global Development Initiative, President Xi further proposed a development pattern featuring benefits for all, balance, coordination, and inclusiveness, win-win cooperation, and common prosperity. He also announced 32 practical measures, such as setting up the Global Development and South-South Cooperation Fund, and enhancing support for the China UN Peace and Development Fund. China has also contributed to global development by domestic efforts, for example, vigorously promoting green and low-carbon development, lifting nearly 100 million rural people out of poverty last year, and achieving the poverty reduction goal of the UN 2030 Agenda 10 years ahead of schedule. 3. People-to-people exchanges contributing new wisdom to the social cultural governance for the harmonious coexistence of diversified civilization. Manisha Swami just now also talked a lot about the people-to-people exchange. I will share her view. I think diversity of civilization is a basic feature of human society and the source of progress. Some political forces, however, run counter to the mutual appreciation, deliberately foment populism, advocate clash of civilizations or superiority of a certain civilization, and indulge in the colonial sovereignty and the imperial hegemony of the past, destroying the culture and the public opinion foundations of harmonious coexistence of human beings. Countries with people-to-people exchanges as one of the 3 pillars of the mechanism have contributed to promoting international community to transcend civilizational barriers through civilizational exchanges, transcend civilizational conflicts through mutual appreciation, and transcend civil superiority through civilized coexistence. BRICS partners have created a series of brand projects to promote people-to-people contact, which have well conveyed the spiritual strength of BRICS. This year, we have successfully organized forums of BRICS think tanks, media, and civil society, as well as film festivals, sports games, and youth camps. Signed the 5-year action plan on culture, established the Alliance for Vocational Education and Mutual recognition of standards, held a women's leadership forum and women innovation contest, etc., which have strongly promoted the convergence of talents, industry, and innovation chains of BRICS partners and contributed to building a more inclusive and mutually appreciative cultural partnership. Actually, beyond culture and more, like to consolidate and mutual assistance to overcome COVID-19 is also one of the very important fields. It also contributes BRICS wisdom to promote the common values of peace, development, equity, justice, democracy, and freedom for all mankind. Colleagues and friends, last week, the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China was held successfully, providing a new blueprint for China's future development. China has embarked on a new journey to build a modern socialist country and to promote the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation with Chinese path to modernization. China will also steadfastly deepen reform, opening up and achieve high-quality development to create more opportunities for the world with its own development. The 5th China International Import-Export to be held 1 week later is one such platform to share with the world new opportunities in China's market. As a member of BRICS and developing countries, together with its BRICS partners, China will also actively participate in the reform and the building of the global governance system, practice the concept of global governance based on extensive consultation, joint efforts, and shared benefits, firmly uphold the international fairness and justice, advocate and practice true multilateralism, oppose hegemony and power politics, maintain world peace, promote common development. Dear colleagues and friends, in my conclusion, I'd like to say, as the journey is, we will surely reach our destination when we stay firmly in the course. As we are pleased to see, BRICS cooperation has survived many years of turbulent waves, and numerous and vivid practices have shown that BRICS countries promote the sound development of the BRICS mechanism and benefit from the results of BRICS cooperation. I myself have stayed in Sao Paulo for 5 years, more than 5 years, and I also witnessed the cooperation achievements between China and Brazil. So that's one of the examples. I believe with the BRICS partners' joint efforts and the wider supporting from international community, BRICS definitely will continue to empower its cooperation with a higher quality partnership and move towards a brighter and a better future and make a greater BRICS contribution to the parameters for international consultation and to improve global governance, to solving common problems faced by mankind in developing the world peace and prosperity, and to promoting building of a community with a shared future for mankind. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chen Peijie for your remarkable speech, and also congratulations for your excellent work in the Consul General in São Paulo since 2017, in cooperation with Brazil. And I wish you, as a Chinese government, a very successful closing of the presidency of BRICS this year, and congratulations for this as well. Our Consul General of Russia in São Paulo, Mr. Vladimir Tokmakov, wouldn't be able to join us due to technical problems, which is okay in our online environment. We got used to, and anyway, I would like to thank you all, distinguished high-level representative of the BRICS countries here in São Paulo, Consul General Chen Peijie, Consul General Tinyiko Kumalo, Consul General Manisha Swami, and Consul General Vladimir Tokmakov for the acceptance of our invitation. It's good to see you all together and sharing your views in this changing world of politics. And even though the international environment is always changing, BRICS stands, and it's always good to hear about the willing to cooperate more and more within the BRICS grouping in several important areas for our countries, and also to foster cooperation among academia, civil society, and government, to make us stronger, strategically articulated towards economic and social development, which is our main goals. We are looking forward to see you soon enough. Please allow me to close this session, and thank you for your time. And I would like to thank also Ibrashina again for all the technical support for this session to happen, and all the partners of the whole GEBRICS team worked very hard to make this happen. Thank you so much, and this session is closed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bruce.
Thank you very much. And
Very nice meeting you, Kumalo and Swami. Yeah.
Thank you very much, all of you, for wonderful deliberations. And I was just wondering if we can have one photo, or maybe Bruce, I can have one photo with all these. I do not know how do you do in your system.
Let me try. Get a print screen here. Rafael, você consegue fazer um print aí do... Porque o meu botão de print screen não está configurado.
Open a new document.
Tudo bem, gente? Podem se preparar para a gente fazer uma foto?
No click. No click.
All set for the photo?
We all say BRICS.
Obrigado, pessoal. A foto está feita. Muito obrigado.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, bye.
Thank you.
bye bye. Obrigada.